Attraction marketing is we're going to be so prolific that our posts are so great and we've got unlimited leads and our inbox is flooded and DMs, right? And everybody wants to join our business and everybody wants to buy our products. The reality is even with most influencers, that doesn't happen.
Well, hey there, and welcome to the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. In this episode, you are in for a very special treat with a very special guest. I interviewed the amazing Rob Sperry, who is recognized as a top trainer in the network marketing industry, who has also, aside from being a top trainer, been in the industry himself as a network marketer. Rob, in just his first year alone, reached the highest rank in the company. He's also played a pivotal role in one of the biggest mergers in network marketing history. Aside from that, he has spoken in over 24 countries as a keynote speaker, has written 19 books, and is a podcaster for a podcast that reaches people in over 200 countries. Rob is a highly experienced individual, but more than all of that, he is passionate about people being successful in their own business, growing their dream business in the network marketing industry, and being successful in their own right. Today, Rob trains people, he teaches them, he speaks, and he inspires. He also runs powerful masterminds, pulling people together in retreat situations, helping them to expand in all areas of business. Rob is a wealth of information, and in this episode, he freely gives of some of that knowledge to help you grow your business today, sharing some of the insights that he's learned over the years. I was fascinated to chat with him, honored to learn from him, and today, so will you be also. I hope you enjoy this episode. Get your pen and paper out ready because he drops loads of golden nuggets. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. I'm Sam Hind, and I am so honored and blessed to be joined today by the amazing Rob Sperry. Welcome on in, Rob.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be on.
Hey, not as excited as me. I know this is going to be a really powerful conversation. And look, I want to just kick this off. One keynote speaker to another. What has been your biggest keynote fail ever?
Oh, it's bad. I mean, I remember I had a couple when I first started. First one, I'll go really fast, is I get up there and I'm so excited. I'm really nervous. And I thought of this great idea. Let's have everybody share their favorite products that most people wouldn't know. And it was a company that had hundreds and hundreds of products. They started sharing and I couldn't get them to shut up. And so this pro speaker comes up to me and he's like, watch, I got this. Takes the mic and he starts doing the shh. And all of a sudden, everyone started being quiet. And he pulls me aside after. He's like, we've been programmed since we were kids to be quiet when someone does that. And so that was the first one. Second one was about 100 times more embarrassing. It was when I first emerging as a leader. Didn't have that many people in my hometown because you're never a prophet in your own country, but I travel out of town, drive about 10 hours to Arizona, doing meetings on the way there, and I show up and there's well over 100 people at that time. That felt like a ton for me, and I'm the keynote that everyone's there for. And I speak. At the end of speaking, I didn't want to interrupt the individual that was next after me. And so the way to exit to the restrooms or the toilet was the very front left. So I'm watching the speaker, trying not to be distracting or anything like that. And I turn a little bit too soon. And so I run right into the plexiglass. My head hits the plexiglass, bounces off. It's this huge, loud, just thud. And everyone's quiet and they look at me and I look back and I said, yeah, that just happened. And I think that's the worst of it because, everyone always says fantasize experiences appearing real and it's never as bad as you think. No, this was worse than I could have ever imagined. So they're dying laughing. My face is red. I'm trying to act like I'm not embarrassed. And then someone says, because those of you who don't know, my last name is Sperry. They're like, his last name should be Rob Sparrow. He's a bird who can't see through plexiglass. And I was absolutely mortified. So those
Yeah.
are two that come to mind right away.
Oh my goodness. I was actually joking about the fact that every speaker, this was a couple of weeks ago at DSU, every speaker has three fears, right? It's falling off stage, slides don't work, and losing your voice. And I ticked two of those boxes in one event. So I was curious to hear someone else's fails just to
Yeah,
make sure I'm
they
not
were
alone.
they were bad as you could imagine. When everyone says
Yep.
those fears don't happen, they happen, but that's
They
okay. I
happen.
lived.
Absolutely, they happen for sure. Well, I'm really pumped about this conversation today. We are going to be dropping loads of gold nuggets for people in a very short space of time because I've just got you for a short period today. But Rob, tell us a little bit about your background. You are obviously working in the direct selling industry. You are supporting people, you're helping people grow, you're doing incredible things. But what, in a quick nutshell, what led you to here and where you are today and I guess the passion that you have for seeing people be successful in their businesses?
Well, the short version of it is I was a tennis guy. I played high school tennis and was just a really highly competitive tennis player, played Division I college tennis. And then after I got married, I decided to stop playing tennis, but then I started running a tennis club. So everything I did was revolved around tennis. And I had all these aspirations. I was always very, very ambitious. And so I wanted to run tennis clubs and eventually build my own tennis club. And I'm running a tennis club at age 24. So in my mind, I'm like, this is the dream. And I quickly found out that I hit a ceiling really fast, meaning I could make more money at all. And the owners of the tennis club, one in particular, was kind of brutal. It was kind of like, hey, every single time I made a certain amount, would cut my pay, and I would work more to get back to that amount because they also owned gyms, which were much more profitable than the tennis club. So they didn't really like the tennis club. Even though I was helping them, it still was never good enough.
Yeah.
So I started asking everyone at the tennis club, because we're talking, when I say wildly successful, I mean, I know multiple billionaires from the tennis club, several that their net worth was a couple hundred million. And and several that were just incredible millionaires, which I was just fascinated. So what did you do? How did you make your money? And often they would let me just come over to their house and pick their brains because I was the tennis guy teaching their kids. And that's the key to anyone's family or to anyone in general is their family, right?
Yeah.
And so
Remember, this is a really good point. Remember the names of your dream customers, right? The names of your kids of your dream customers.
yeah, you help their kids. They'll literally do anything. And so there were several that were very insightful and helpful. I still remember a lot of learning lessons. There was one in particular that was begging to get their kids in lessons. And I'm like, I have a waiting list of 25 people. And so he's like, well, what do you want? What do you need? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? Super smart. So I started telling him, like, I don't know. I'm buying every entrepreneur magazine, every small business magazine. I'm a wannabe entrepreneur. And he's like, great. You get my kids in and you can come over to my house and I'll start teaching you about everything about wealth. So he gives me back then, it's an iPod and it has 100 books on it. And he's like, you got to start listening to this and stop wasting money on fast food. Number one, it's not healthy for you. Number two, you're wasting your money. You got to save, you got to invest. And so all these different things from mindset and discipline. And he's got the sand beach volleyball court and the swimming pool and this massive soccer field and this outdoor theater and surround sound and pool house. And at that time it was 2008 and he had the Iron Man like R8 Audi and he had a plane. So I'm thinking this is wild. So about 3 years I get to know his family really, really well. In fact, my wife and I would watch their kids when they went out of town. We became really close to their whole family. And he tells me he's coming out of retirement. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to do your commercial real estate you have or that 1,000 acres you own over here. He's like, no, I made my money through network marketing and then invested it. And I started laughing like, you're kidding me. And he's like, you think that's funny? I'm like, well, I just never thought. Now, I live in Utah. And I know Sam, you and Greg come over here all the time. Yeah. There's literally off my exit, I think 8 different network marketing companies.
Yeah, like they're everywhere.
Everywhere, right? So I had said no to 11 different companies thinking you only do that if you're really, like things are really bad. Like I don't, like I had from a multi-billion-dollar company, one of the 3 master distributors was my Sunday school teacher in church. Like it was just like all over the place, everywhere. Yeah. And so I just had no interest. but here's this guy that's made over $30 million in the profession that I really look up to, no matter how much money he'd made. And he just said, I'm making a run, and you can come over to my house every day. You can use my pool house for meetings, and I will teach you and train you what normally takes people 20 years to learn in 1 year. And then he said this will be the hardest thing you've ever done before. Most people are the opposite, right? He's like, the hardest thing. You will make more sacrifices than you've ever made. But he said, guess what? If you do that, years from now, he said, every day will be an anniversary. Every day will be a holiday. Every day will feel like a birthday. He said, I don't see movies when everyone else sees them. I see them when they're at work or at school. I don't go on vacations during holidays. I go right when they're done with their holidays and they're back to work. So he cast this vision of what was possible and also how hard it was, but how worth it was. Yeah. And long story short, I ended up saying yes. I reached out to a total of 0 people my first 2 days because I was so scared. And then he called me up and he said, who are you getting on the phone with me right now? You know, I didn't even know about 3-way calls or third-party validations. Oh, I got a bunch of people coming to your house tomorrow. That was such a white lie. And he's like, I love you, Rob. We're friends no matter what. But you get someone on the phone with me at 2 p.m. when you're done with work, or I'm done with you. I'm never working with you again, but we're still friends. Urgency is synonymous with wealth. Click. The guy hangs up on me, and I'm like shaking. 2 p.m. comes. I'm on the phone from 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. I ended up doing about $39,000 in personal sales in 3 weeks during August, during the summer month here in the U.S., which can be slower. Generated a $15,000 paycheck. And then guess what? My check, I quit, went full-time, quit the tennis club dream job at 28 years old. My 5th month in the business, I made less than $400 for the month, working 80 hours a week because, as you know, and I know you guys teach this, I went into management mode. So I did the opposite of most people. Most people, it's like slow, slow, slow. I had massive success and then full-time, and it was less because I was trying to get everyone to do what I did month 1, but I wasn't leading anyone. So it was a really incredible learning lesson for me.
Yeah. That's an awesome story. And obviously this is what you spend your time helping people with. I would love to kind of unpack that little piece you just said there, though, about going into management mode and what that is. But also I just want to talk about, and this is something that was sort of on my mind yesterday, actually. It's actually really timely that we're having this conversation, because I realized that there's a sort of 1, 2, 3 percenters, and they're the people that are very self-motivated. They're the people who, you know, go out of their way to learn, to do the development that they've got to do. They work the crazy hours. But when you're building a team, that's not the majority of people, and you can't lead people by pushing them the way that you would typically push yourself, right? Because that's not the vast majority of business builders out there. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, 100%. I'm like going full time, calling up my buddies and Josh and Ange and remember all these friends, and they're like, I'm still at work. I'm like, right. So 100%. And it's tough because we really want to support them. But at the same time, I really think that it's because we don't want to continue to go through all those rejections and the fear of judgment. So in our minds, we convince ourselves we're such great supporters and cheerleaders and coaches that we're going to help them, which is true, but it's a partial truth. In reality, we'd rather coach everyone what to do rather than us actually do it ourselves. And so I had to learn, I got to match their energy. If they go fast, I go fast. They go slow, I go slow. They go medium, I go medium. And if they're not putting me in front of new people, working this business is talking to brand new people about your business or products, I got to go find new people, and I've got to make it happen in the meantime.
So you had this amazing mentor, right? He sees something in you. He drives you. I'm guessing that in your mind, you're thinking, as you're having the success and growing this business, you are potentially behaving in exactly the same way initially that he was, but it wasn't getting you the result. What's the difference between what he did with you versus what you then had to learn to do with other people?
Yeah, really good question. So At the beginning, I wasn't sure what, so I actually formulated some of my own ideas and principles, what I thought. And then after that, I started trying to say things the way that he said them.
Mm.
He's the strongest type A personality I've ever met in my life. Nothing wrong with that. But in my mind, and I can be super blunt, I say it to him. He knows it. His approach and invite was the stupidest approach anybody could ever have. And you may be listening right now. Wait, what? He laughs when I say it. He was such a strong personality that he taught me to do this. He's like, well, just call him up and just say, hey, give me your credit card. We're going to make a lot of money. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, he had a lot of success, right? His personality was very strong and it worked for him. So what I had to do, and exactly where you're going with this, is there were parts of me that, yes, started to try to be too much like him because I confused principles and techniques. Principles are timeless. Techniques vary. So what was the principle of his approach? It was short and sweet. There's power in brevity, Jim Rohn teaches. Mm-hmm. It was bold. The world loves boldness. It makes people curious. It's contagious. Mm-hmm. So I had to extract the principle. The technique is the words that you're using. So I had to find, okay, how can I keep it short and sweet? How can I be bold? But the bold version of me is going to be a lot different than the bold version of him. Because under the bold version of him, people are like, Rob, what's gotten into you? You're super weird. You're a lot different. And so that was a great learning lesson for really everything, of the difference between principles and techniques and extracting the principle. That's what we want to duplicate, our principles. There's certain techniques that, yes, we do. And other times, we have different personalities and styles.
Before we jump back into the episode, I want to quickly share with you a tool that I created just for you. If you've been feeling a bit like social media feels super overwhelming, I don't know what to do next, and I'm just sick of overthinking it and throwing spaghetti at the wall and waiting to see what sticks. If that feels a little bit like you right now and you aren't getting the results that you want, that's exactly why I wrote my book, Show Up Anyway. Show Up Anyway is a really simple read. I wanted to make this fast and implementable. You'll be able to read it in 1 or 2 quick sittings, but most importantly, every chapter has an action step at the end of it and a process you can follow to get the results that you've been hoping for. So if that sounds a little bit like you can go to the show notes, you can grab a copy there, or of course you can jump onto Amazon and order your copy. It's available in Kindle, it's available as a paperback, and now also in Audible in certain regions. All right, let's get back into the episode. You and I talk about the same thing in 2 different worlds. I'm talking about it as a formula versus a recipe for social media. So I love that that same concept translates. I want to talk to you a little bit about attraction marketing now, because this is kind of your wheelhouse. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding around what attraction marketing is. So first, you want to kind of explain from your perspective what it is and maybe also what most people misunderstand about it.
Yeah, everybody thinks, when I say everybody, I'm generalizing. Most think that attraction marketing is, we're going to be so prolific that our posts are so great and we've got unlimited leads and our inbox is flooded in DMs, right? And everybody wants to join our business and everybody wants to buy our products. Yeah. The reality is even with most influencers, that doesn't happen. It may happen for a post or 2 posts, but to continue to do it post after post, it typically doesn't. Now, I know there's some influencers that it does. But again, if we're saying that's the exception to the rule, that's the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Yeah. So what I look at attraction marketing is if you're doing a prolific job or a good job on social media, it's niches to riches. Now, I know in Australia, they get mad at me. They say it's niche. I'm like,
it's niche. It is niche, but I'm okay to overlook it.
It doesn't rhyme, though. You can't say niches to riches. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I know when I've spoken on stage there, they tell me, they give me a hard time. So just go with the American bad grammar for just a second here. So we're going to go with the niche or niches to riches. You can just say niche in your mind. Yeah. But as you start being more deliberate, and I know you guys teach this so well with your content, you're showing, of course, a little bit of your business, a little bit of your products. You're showing a lot about just you in general. You're dialing in what it is. You're not all over the place. But what that does is your vibe attracts your tribe. And the people that are annoyed with you, that can't stand you, can't stand your style, your personality, that's okay. They're going to block you. They're going to unfriend you. They're going to unfollow you. They're going to snooze you depending on the platform. And then the people that love your content, they're going to start following. It's like they're eating their popcorn and they're excited for your post and they start sharing your content and they start commenting and tagging other people. So what does this do? Now, yes, you're going to have some that reach out to you, of course. But now when you start doing the business and you start making those new reach outs, those new invites for your business or your products, depending on what your personality, your style, your philosophy is, you're going to find that maybe instead of 1 out of 20 saying yes, maybe it's just 2 out of 20. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but you just doubled your numbers because of attraction marketing. They're seeing your content, right? Maybe it's nutritional supplements and you're showing waking up in the gym and you're like, hey, are you the person that likes to work out in the morning or at night or never? And then you get to the gym and you say cardio or lifting, what do you prefer? And then you show maybe the supplement you're taking, right? And the benefits of it, be compliant. And that could be something, right? Attraction marketing that pertains or goes with your products, right? And so all that stuff, right? You start building like, oh, this person, right, is into health and wellness. So just a little bit. I know you and I could spend hours and hours just on that question.
100%. So many questions I want to ask you about social media content. I do just have one other question I'm going to ask on this before we chat a little bit more about leadership and mindset. But what do you think is probably the biggest thing on social media that's working right now that people are overcomplicating?
Yeah, the biggest thing that's working right now, I mean, I'll give you the first one, which is easy, and then the second one's a little more complex. The first one is just consistency. I mean, honestly, as simple as it sounds, how many clients have you guys worked with or students have you worked with? And it's like, if they can't be consistent, it's never going to work. And why does consistency work? Well, yes, it starts building your following and your audience, everything I just said before, but also how can you have someone like Sam and Greg go in and do an audit on what's working, what's not working when you're not even following it and you're not even posting consistently? I mean, imagine if you posted twice a day for 30 days, now they can go look at your top 10 posts, extract the principles that work and look at your bottom 10 and say, hey, this isn't really landing. You're not a different version of you. You're the best version of you. So that's the first thing that by far works the most. Then after that, I think it really just depends on the platform that you're on. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, the algorithm's demoting reels. No, we just have better reels, higher quality content. We're used to seeing so many of them, so they're not as interesting, even though we still like them typically more. And then on top of it, there's like 100 times more than there used to be. At the beginning, you were first to market, there weren't that many. So I still do think some of the traditional, I mean, we are starting to see, depending if it's Instagram, you see carousels are working a little bit better if they're good at telling stories. I think that's been, the last 6 months better than ever. I do still think reels are good. It's funny how they're hit and miss on one platform and the other platform it takes off. Like sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, folks, even though the better your formula is, the higher your odds are of it working.
Yeah. 100%. And staying up to date with what the algorithms are preferencing. I know that can be really daunting and overwhelming, but at the end of the day, if you don't know what they're looking for, you could actually be working against yourself. So there is some element of you know what, you need to have the knowledge. You do need to have the knowledge about what's going on right now. I love that. Awesome. So I want to just quickly talk about leadership for a little moment. We've already sort of dabbled in that sort of space in this conversation. But if you were to give a leader right now, I guess one piece of advice, maybe something you learnt the hard way when it comes, whether they've got one person in their team right now or many, what's one thing that you would say is kind of like a principle that every leader needs to follow in order to be successful and grow a successful team?
Yeah, a couple different things. I mean, there's a lot that comes to mind right away. I always teach good leaders have vision, but great leaders give vision. So having vision is incredible. You've committed to not quitting and I'm never quitting and I'm going to be here forever. That's good. But that's like saying I'm going to climb the top of the mountain and the top of the mountain represents success. But you get to the bottom of the mountain and you plant your flag and you say you're never quitting. It's good, but it's not good enough. Great leaders know how to give the vision. They know how to cast the vision. Stephen Covey's definition of leadership is communicating to one their worth and potential so well, they see it in themselves. Now, I get it. Even when you do an incredible job of casting that vision to help that individual see just a little bit further than they can see themselves, they still have the choice to make, and they still may do nothing. But the better you get at it, the more people that you move, the more people that you get to believe in themselves. And sometimes they can't even believe in themselves. They believe in you. They believe in the company. They believe in the product, right? They believe in the profession of network marketing. And so as leaders, that's what we want to do. But the second part to that is, and it's one of the most cliche quotes ever in network marketing, but the longer you're in it, the more you're like, okay, cliches are cliches for a reason because they're timeless principles. The speed of the leader, the speed of the pack. I can't tell you how many, I'll call them fake leaders. I know this is tough love, that maybe they got right place, right time, and their check makes them feel like they're a leader. But they aren't really doing the do. They aren't really doing the actions. They haven't really done it, or maybe they did it a long time ago and they're not doing it. So they're trying to teach everyone, like I did my first month versus my fourth, fifth, sixth month, to teach everyone what they did, but not what they're currently doing. And consciously or subconsciously, everyone knows it. So think about this. Whatever you do well as a leader sometimes duplicates. Whatever you do poorly almost always duplicates. This is a leadership principle. I have 4 kids. I'm telling you, whatever I do poorly, my wife just looks at me and we're pointing at each other. Usually it's my fault. The kids copy. And whatever we do well, I swear it's only sometimes. It's like over and over teaching, right? It's the same thing in this business, just like life.
It's like, how did they pick that up once? I saw a really funny little quote yesterday from someone. They said, I never, ever have to tell my kids anything twice. Usually 365 times or more, but never twice.
It's so true.
Okay, so I really quickly, we don't have heaps of time left, but I really want to talk about duplication for a sec, because I think this is a word, again, that is very misunderstood and in some ways also misused, this concept of duplication. What for you is the easiest thing to duplicate and probably the most important thing to duplicate? And again, I'm opening a can of worms here, but fairly quickly, can you tell us also what's an area that people need to be careful about duplication with?
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand. I look at duplication. We all know that working this business is making new invites, whether it's the business or products. And everyone creates a checklist. And again, I'm generalizing, let's say 20 things. I worked so hard, Sam. I worked 22 hours this week. Okay, how many new invites did you make? And it's like 1. And you think about that, that's, you could work for 30 minutes rather than 22 hours and have more success. And I'm not taking away from the other things. I'm just saying there's one thing that moves the needle more than the other 19 things combined. The other 19 things, some are super helpful that will help increase it, right? Social media is right up there because that's going to bring new leads. Some are just going to say yes, and it's going to warm it up as you go. But nothing replaces it. Think of new invites as the fire. Everything else is the fuel. And too many people are pouring fuel on dirt and they wonder why their business isn't growing. Right. So that's something that always is part of duplication. Now, where people get too robotic is all of our personalities and styles are a little bit unique. And so I could be teaching third-party validations are so important. And maybe in particular, a team member is like, everybody's got to do Zooms or everybody's got to do 3-way calls. Or another leader could be like me personally, I like using messenger chat when at all possible because I don't have to make it awkward. Are you available at this time? I don't have to coordinate my upline or sideline or downline or whoever I'm using that I'm for a third-party validation could be in a movie. And as soon as they're out, they can instantly respond. It's quick. It's less invasive. So for me, that technique is the best. For someone else, you're like, Rob, it's not as personable. So I'm going to teach why I think what I think, but at the same time, I'm going to say, hey, the principle is a third-party validation. Here are some of the techniques. Here's why I like this technique best. But I think we have to be careful to not pigeonhole and make it so rigid that we're like, oh my goodness, they're doing a little different than me. And we start to become a boss, not a leader. So those are some things that come to mind.
Yeah, I love that. So If you were given 30 minutes a day for everyone that you work with, you're like, right, I know that everyone that I work with is going to have 30 solid minutes a day to work on their business. What would you say if that's all they had would be the 1, 2, or 3 most important activities they could do in that time?
20 minutes doing brand new invites. I'd spend 5 minutes because hopefully they get good enough, right? Following what you guys teach them for social media.
Yep.
And then I say 5 minutes for the follow-up, but of course, a lot of that just depends on how big your funnel is. If you're following
Yep.
up with new people and those people are really interested, then that can seep into the new invites, and then that
Yep.
would be totally appropriate and okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it. And just before I get into my 4 favorite questions here, this is probably the biggest question I get, Rob, from people when we're talking about doing those reach outs and follow ups, because I too believe it is more important than the content you create, because otherwise what the heck is the content doing, right? What's the purpose of it if you're not doing reach outs and connections? So one of the questions people then follow up with for me is, well, what system do you use? What process do you use to manage the notes and the follow-up so you don't forget, so it's not all just in your head or on post-it notes on the desk or the computer screen? Do you have a favorite system that you like to use?
I've used so many different ones, and I have people that are paper and they do this and they do that and try this CRM. For me, it was just a combination of old school of, number one, the recent and active. I had a huge, massive whiteboard because I was visual. And then behind the scenes, I would just create my own little spreadsheet that had the basics that I need. And then I would combine that with a lot of things I would put in my diary or calendar that would constantly give me reminders. And so between those 3, that's what worked best for me. But I've never found an answer that is universal one, because everyone is, I've tried that doesn't work, and they're so different and unique.
You have to find your own thing. I'm laughing at that response because I can't show you this right now, but off to my right is the biggest whiteboard you've ever seen, leaned up against the wall with what I call my Hot 100 list on it, which
that's mine too. It's like taller than me. It's so big.
Yeah, I have to reach to get to the top of it. And
gotta have a big whiteboard.
Sam, you're a technical person. What are the techie tools that you use? I'm like, you know what? I've tried them all. And for some people, they're going to work really, really well. For me, I like to go up there, put a tick next to the person's name. So I've reached out to them today. I don't have, it's a manual system, right? So, and I like Post-its. I like handwriting things down. I like putting them in my paper diary and in my calendar on my computer.
I'm with you.
It's haphazard, but it works for me.
My Post-its.
Yeah, I've got about 6 different lots of Post-its floating around on my desk here that I use every day. And my husband does walk in and he's like, what is going on here? What you guys see here, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Rob, is not what's behind the camera. Funny. Okay, so 4 favorite questions. Let's wrap up with this. These are my favorites because we often pull some of the best responses out of these. First one, because leaders are readers for sure. I want to know, what is your book of the moment or your favorite book for us to add to our Accelerator book list?
Yeah, I'm big on anything Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I have a lot of really good friends, mutual friends with him, and I just like all his books. But the recent one, Science of Scaling, I'm using that from everything from a network marketing perspective to my own perspective of my own coaching, consulting, and keynote. So I'm leveraging it, everything from all my ideas with Claude and ChatGPT and everything in there. So that would be the one right now.
You know, it's funny. Greg and I are actually reading that book right now at this very moment. So yeah, awesome. Next question is, what's your favorite quote? You've got a brilliant one on the wall up behind you there. By the way, for those who are listening, not watching, it says, if you do not believe in yourself, no one will do it for you. And that's Kobe Bryant. But you have to pick a different one because we've already got that one from you.
I got it. So. Yeah. What you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Because I think that's life, but in network marketing, how many times do we tell everyone to do something we don't actually do? So what you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say.
Yep. Oh my gosh, that is a brilliant one. I love that so much. Okay. If you could have a superpower, any superpower, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I actually would go with one that I don't know if anyone's ever said, the ability to transfer belief. to others.
Ooh,
And
I don't know that they have, but I love
I
that.
think that would just change the world. Everything,
Yep.
like I think of even not even just, I think of this profession, how much I just know they can do it. And they look at me like, you don't know me. I'm like, yeah, I've seen every walk of life. I've spoken
Yeah.
in 24 countries. I've
Yep.
seen different companies, different, backgrounds, and people have success. And then I also even look at how much I love my kids and
Mm.
nieces and nephews and all the relationships and people. And if I could just transfer that belief with them, how much it could change the world.
Yep. Yep. So good. I love that. Really powerful. I think self-belief is probably the biggest thing that's missing for everyone who's got potential, and anyone that doesn't step into their potential. I think it comes back to self-belief, right? All right. Last question. If you could go back in time and say one thing to your past self, what would that be?
I would say to myself, your family will never, ever remember your rank. So
Mm-hmm.
be crazy deliberate with your time. Now, that may not mean what many of you think. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean I would just be like not working.
Mm-hmm.
That would mean that I would value my time at a whole nother level, so that when I did work and I was away from my family,
Yeah.
that I was making those new invites because I valued my time away from them so much. And I believe by doing that, I actually would have increased my success much more,
Mm-hmm.
and even had even more time with my family during that time. So it's not saying
Yeah.
sacrifices wouldn't have been made. It's not saying there isn't a grind you got to go through, but time's the most valuable thing we have on this earth.
Yeah. 100%. It's the presence in the moment with what you're doing. You can be with your kids and not be with your kids at all, right? That was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned over the last 11 years. Your kids won't remember the big dramatic holidays as much as those little moments every day that you give them where you're present and right there with them. So good. So if people want to find out more about you, Rob, if they want to connect with you, they want to learn about you, they want to do more work with you, where can they go? What can they do? Where can we send them?
Yeah, for sure. Best places would be, you can always go to robsperry.com. That's got basic stuff, but follow me on social media. I'm most
Yep.
active on Facebook, and I'm actually most active in my Facebook group titled The Game of Networking, which is, from a generic standpoint, probably the most active Facebook group in all of network marketing. And it's a lot of fun there. So I don't think I've missed posting there in about 8 years. So I post
Yep.
at least once a day with any insights and valuable content. And so that's a great place to engage.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll put all of those in the show notes so people can find them in case they missed that just then. But thank you so much for taking this time out of your very busy schedule. I know you've got lots of travel coming up. You're going to be in Europe. You're hanging out with your family. You've got Bali. You've got all sorts of things happening. But we really appreciate you taking this time out to honor me with your time and your knowledge. I've learned a lot today, but also for sharing with our beautiful audience. We really appreciate you, Rob.
Thanks so much, Sam. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And thanks, of course, to our beautiful audience for listening in again. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. So great to have you guys here, and we'll see you again on the podcast next week. That's it from us. Bye for now. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. If you love listening and you found that this was helpful for your direct selling business, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also check out the recommended video that's popped up on your screen right here. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.